That is definitely groovy.
Kind of digging it.
That is definitely groovy.
Kind of digging it. I think it's coming through the.
All I hear is the music, so.
Yeah, we're hearing it. They're not hearing it.
Okay.
You're welcome, everybody. All right, we can start though. That's one thing we can do. I suppose I should mute my microphone or my phone. Here we go.
Yeah, probably.
I rearranged my thing, so it happens. Here we go.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all are listening to the Overseas Connection podcast.
Shut up and sit down.
Here we go!
Would you kindly? I think we're just getting started.
Medic!
I'm a witcher.
I think this is more than you can handle.
He sits on his ass all day.
Let's do this.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to episode 805 of the Overseas Connection podcast. It is October 6th, 2024, and coming to you live from the West Wing, Roseville, California, once again, back in the saddle. My name is Greg DeLisi, gamertag Murphy's Law, OC_Murphy's Law on Twitter. Yes, I said Twitter. Also on the show today, Miss Kim Woods.
Yeah, back again. It's Sunday. What else would I be doing? So yeah, I'm here in Arbela, Missouri, so that way Greg doesn't have to try to remember where the hell I'm from, and because he always puts me near Kansas City and not even close. So, and that's me. I'm at GamerGirl27 pretty much everywhere. So let's do this thing.
Just gonna start putting you in Canada.
Right.
Kim.
There you go.
Descending from Missouri, parts of Canada.
Right.
All right. If you are new to the show, we are a video game podcast. We talk about video games, talk about life. We are an older gaming audience, so we are a little bit more mature, also a little bit more immature. It'll all come forward. But we're old enough to buy our own beer.
That's the important thing.
That is the important thing. We do this every Sunday, 12 p.m. on the West Coast. That's really the only time zone you ever need to really think about. It's the only important one. There's something called a central time zone that I tend to ignore completely, but it's 2 p.m. there currently. 3 p.m. on the East Coast, also a time zone that really, honestly, who cares? And then 8 p.m. in the UK, and that actually is getting the big middle finger these days because our UK presence used to be like a stalwart of the show. It was like a staple. And now, kind of much like the revolution, they have withered away and gone away. And so, it's the Yanks that are running the show for the time being until, the Protestants and the Anglo-Saxons and I don't know what else, the Catholics, the Protestants, the Catholics. There's a lot of religious stuff going on over in Ireland. Someday that'll get sorted out, and Robin will be back on the show. That's where I was going with all of that. In the meantime, just for Robin.
I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
All right. Kim, we are also on Twitch. We are on YouTube, so you can join us live, watch us, make fools of ourselves in person, be part of the chat, or we'll put forward an audio version of the podcast whenever I get my lazy butt around to producing that. That'll go up on the internets for you to download to your favorite podcast service, app, whatever you want to call it, and listen while we're just in recording. So it's like the old days of cassette tapes. You're getting an audio recording of us. Probably will sound even better on the remix audio version than the real thing, but that's okay. Kim, we do have some birthdays we need to talk about. I'm going to let you do the honors. Normally, I steal everybody's thunder and make fun of people. I'm not going to do that. This is your job now, Kim. Please make fun of some people.
Alright. Alrighty. One that I missed last week was Dorian Ellis. His birthday was October 4th. So I don't know. I figure he's about what, 32? So, because I figure if I go higher, I might hit the nail on the head and they might feel bad. So we'll go with 32. I mean, 32 was a good year. So I liked when I was 32. Anyway, onward to this week, we have, oh God, I may end up screwing this up. We'll see. John Kynaston, right? I think.
It sounds right.
All right, we'll go with that. His birthday is October 9th, so happy birthday to you. And last but not least, someone we know very well, that is Tom Pedro White. His birthday is October 11th, and I'm sure he's about 78. So,
No truer words could be said.
right.
Pets, I haven't seen him in a while.
I haven't either.
He's dropped off face of. It could possibly be fatherhood taking hold.
Right.
It happens.
It'll do that.
So, in honor of that,
Yeah.
that's all you get. We're not going to
There you
sing
go.
to you. Just give you a happy birthday shout out.
You don't want me to sing to you, trust me. Cat squalling sound better than I'm singing to you. So, yeah.
I need to get a cat screech sound effect. That's actually a good call.
There you
All
go.
right, here we
Well,
go.
it's Halloween.
Let's talk some story time, Kim.
Alrighty.
Everyone here loves story time, our favorite time of the day.
So this is the time where we just digest what happened over the week. We're going to sit back, tell the tales of many things that happened to us. I will start
Okay.
with the fact that I finished the Convergence Dragon Slayer, which is the second book of the series.
And did you like it?
I did like it.
I mean, I
did.
know you said something about deja vu and stuff like that, but
So the storyline itself has some similarities to other books I've heard from R.C. Bray, but I'm happy to say they have some nice little wrinkles to this one. So it's still feeling somewhat fresh.
good.
So enjoyed that. There's a third book I'll be getting to shortly. I also started the season 2 of Amazon Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, which that's a lot of rings ofs in the title.
Right.
Felt like they could have shortened that one down a little bit. But
A little bit.
have you seen season 2 yet? Have you
I
done any of the Lord of
haven't.
the Rings?
I don't know. I keep thinking I'm gonna watch this because I do like Lord of the Rings, but then I hear enough people bagging on it that it's terrible. So then that makes me a little.
So did you
you
not
know.
see season 1?
I have not yet. No.
Okay. So season
I kind of
1
follow along with it, but I don't know exactly what's all going on.
Yeah, so far season 2, excellent. Enjoying it
Mhm.
very much so.
Mhm.
Season 1, it's a slow grind to start.
Right.
A lot of character building, a lot I think of unnecessary kind of length to it,
Right.
but it was still good. And in the end, I think it gets to the right place it needed to be.
Mhm.
But yeah, I could see where I think a lot of people struggle with it at first as well. And again, you're having to live up to the Lord of the Rings movies, which are
Right.
it's a high mark, right?
Right.
But no, they do a good job. I think the special effects overall good. There's never been a moment where I'm like, ooh, that looked rough. Like, for instance, the Halo series, that first season, it was
Right.
like, oh, okay, there were some animations there that felt a bit like they didn't have enough in the budget.
Right.
Not so with Amazon Lord of the Rings. It's been excellent so far. Sorry, Rings of Power.
I know what you
and
mean.
Yeah, so I'm 2 episodes into season 2, and
Mhm.
and it's weird because obviously this is a prequel, so we kind of
Right.
know where
What's gonna
things
happen,
all
yeah.
go, and that's
Right.
I think I'm kind of over prequels. They're very popular, especially for series or movies or television series that have a lot of pre-lore that doesn't really get
Right.
told. I
Right.
feel like there's oftentimes people are like, oh, we'll just do a prequel. Well,
Mhm.
I'm kind of over it at this point. I'm enjoying the Lord of the Rings. Don't get me wrong, but I want new stories that I don't know what
Right.
the outcome is. And that's, I think, why Fallout for me was so effective because, I know the story of Fallout. So you're
Mhm.
not necessarily telling me anything quote unquote new from the grand scheme of things, but there's so much individual stories you can tell within Fallout. And there's no kind of end game story in Fallout.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you could create countless
Right.
seasons of Fallout, and I think they would hold up probably each and every one of them as long as it's good writing.
hmm
But with Lord of the Rings in particular, it's like, okay, I know where this all goes. I know
Right.
how this ends. So it feels a bit anticlimactic, but still good.
Right.
I would recommend it.
All right.
I would say
I'll add it to my list.
put it on your watch list. Get on it.
Yep. All right.
All right. What about you, Kim? What's been going on with you?
Well, yesterday I undertook a little project. We've had a cell phone booster in our house because, of course, our house is, well, metal. Our house is metal. We have 10 on the outside, 10 on the roof. And, of course, cell phone signals get killed
Right.
in there. You know, before, you can't get a signal in here unless you're standing next to a window. And usually it's got to be at a certain window with your leg up and your arm over your head and, weird things. So anyway, yesterday, we've had a cell phone booster, but you'll find this kind of funny. I kind of find it funny. My cat, one of them, had peed on the booster.
Oh,
I don't know which one, but we're going through a phase where one of them's trying to be like the head honcho of the clan of cats, and so he pees on things. So I don't know.
Well, so okay, is it spraying or peeing? It's subtle differences.
Well,
maybe,
it's probably spraying more than likely, but either
Okay.
way, it's the same freaking thing. They're
True.
peeing on something.
True.
So anyway, he had peed on our booster, which we'd had since we moved in, so 8 years, 7, 8 years.
Right.
And I mean, it was back when like 4G had just come out, and of course now we have 5G. So I thought, well, as much as I didn't really want him to do anything like that, because I paid $500 for this thing, because they're not cheap. But I
Right.
thought, all right, I'll get on eBay. Maybe I can find a newer one and then find it used, make it a little cheaper, yada, yada, yada. Because the one that I had, technically, I couldn't buy another booster for because it had been discontinued.
Right.
So either way I went, I was either going to have to go on eBay and see if I could find a used one, or just say fuck it and upgrade. And that's what I did. So anyway, I went on eBay. I found a newer one that was used for about $300, which was a little easier to bite off than 500.
Right.
And so yesterday my project was to hook the new booster up, because I knew I had to do it, because my dad would just look at it and be like, I don't know what the hell you're doing. So, So I got around, I ran about, 20, 30 feet of coax to where the antenna needed to be, because unfortunately, it's not just living in a tin can that I have no cell phone. We're also in a kind of a cell phone dead zone because we're in a rural area.
Right.
And there's not a whole lot of cell phone. They're just now getting around to putting up more cell phone towers. So we do have.
You literally need an antenna outside the
Mhm.
house
Yes.
to pull the signal in and then run that to the booster that will then transmit the signal inside the house.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So I did that yesterday. So I drug the antenna around until I found a sweet spot, because there's actually one corner of my yard that if you stand perfectly still, you will get 5G in like 3 bars.
Okay.
Now, for God forbid, if you breathe out wrong or something like that, you instantly lose it and you're back to almost 0. So I set the antenna there, drug out all the coax to run it back to the house, and hooked everything up. And I got in the house. I was all excited. I had 1 bar. I was like, son of a bitch. It did not help at all. And I'm like, well, that can't be right. Well, I noticed one of the coax, because see, I've got the coax that comes in, I've got it run through the window because I didn't want to put any more holes in the house. And because they have those flat things now that you can put in the window, that you can still shut the window, but you can run a coax cable or something through it. Anyway, I noticed on one of them that the other coax that I'd had previously on the old one, it was a little twisted, a little bent. And I thought, well, that's probably not right. I'm sure it's probably got something broke in it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, let's unhook that, and we'll just hook it straight to the coax, to the box, and see how that works. Lo and behold, I did that. All of a sudden, I have 4 bars in my house. I have never had 4 bars in my house, and probably since we moved in. 2 or 3, yeah, but
Right.
Never 4. So there was that. So I guess I'm gonna have to, because see, the thing is, when I unhooked everything, I have one of those inline surge protector deals on it.
Okay.
You screw the coax on one side and then you screw the other coax on the other side, and it's supposed to keep it from getting, if it gets hit by lightning, it's supposed to keep it from frying.
Right.
Whether or not it actually does that, who knows? So anyway, I had to unhook that because obviously I didn't have any more coax. So
Right.
hopefully between now and the time the other stuff comes in from Amazon, we don't have a lightning storm. But I do have it in a regular, like, plug-in surge protector that we plug in, like, our electronics and stuff in. So hopefully that'll save
Yeah,
it.
I mean, as long as you
Yeah.
have the outlet
Mhm.
on a surge protector, I would assume you'd be okay, because I
Right.
can't imagine I suppose the antenna could get struck by lightning, the
Right.
exterior antenna, and then travel
Right.
down the coax into the device. But I mean,
yeah,
The likelihood of
odds
that
are
happening.
right.
Yeah.
Although I do live in Missouri, so God only knows. But anyway, I got that up. I got that to work, so that was fun. Otherwise, we went to Tony's second to last football game yesterday. He plays for the 6th grade, and well, it didn't go well. The poor kid,
Hang on
they
half a second, Kim. Yes.
okay.
I've been requested to throw Sharpies.
Ah,
And a great left-handed toss, no less.
look at you go. They could have they could have used you to play football yesterday, but because poor Tony's team has not won one game this year.
Ooh.
They didn't win yesterday. Of course, they switched from what was it? I think they played 11 man before, and they switched to 8 men because they couldn't get enough players. So this is their first year trying that, and it hasn't gone well. And they went against a team that has been playing it for like the last 6 years. So I mean,
is
they
the
were
whole
kind of.
league, so real quick, the whole league is playing 8-man, or
Uh-huh.
is it okay? Okay.
I think so.
All right.
So they were kind of screwed from the get go because these kids obviously knew what the hell they were doing, and Tony's poor team, they just looked off. I mean, I could have went out there and ran faster than some of those kids, and I'm a gimp. So, but he did. He felt bad. He was pretty defeated yesterday, and I said, look, it happens. I've seen professional teams get walloped, so
It's true.
yeah, you'll be all right. It doesn't help they have 10 coaches, and I don't know how the kids figure out which coach they're supposed to listen to, but I digress on that subject.
Coaching could be a problem. I mean,
Yeah.
coaching is key. It's even in the NFL. Coaching is important. So
Right.
there's
Well,
that.
and then the other team only had like 3 coaches, and we
Yeah.
have 10. And all I can think is,
maybe too
you
many voices.
know, right.
Maybe too many voices, and so yeah, that could very
And
well.
I mean,
be.
I get
as
it,
a,
but
as a parent and or sibling attending
Right.
a game, your job is to yell at the coach.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I could have because they had one coach there yesterday, and all he wanted to do was yell at Anthony or yell at one of the kids. And I'm like, I get it. It's football. You're supposed to, kind of be helping them. But I don't think the yelling at him is helping. But anyway, I think it just makes you look like a jackass. But what do I know? So, but that's just the ant coming out in me because, Tony's my kid too. So,
This
Yeah.
is true. That's true. Your
Yeah.
Protective instincts
I
come out.
am. I'm pretty protective of a little fart. So,
And then,
Anyway.
and what was it? The movie with Goldie Hawn. I'm trying to remember the name of the football movie. She's the coach. Wildcats.
yeah.
If you haven't seen Wildcats before, I highly recommend. It's a funny, good
Right.
movie.
And it's
Wholesome
funny because
movie.
you got my dad, who's not really a football guy, but even he's up there grumbling in the stands, going, "What are these coaches doing?" I said, I don't know. I said, obviously they're not teaching the kids how to play. They're just standing out there yelling at them when they don't do what they're supposed to. But then they don't know what they're supposed to be doing anyway because they don't know which coach to listen to.
Just
So-
promise me at some point you're going to scream from the stands, "Coach, do you know how to get good penetration?"
Sure. When I do that, I'll get my sister to videotape it so that way
There you go.
we can share it with the world. In non-football news, I guess you want me to keep going on this, unless you got something else you want to talk about.
Well, I mean, we can do a little back and forth.
All right.
So, this will be football news. I mean, so
Well, there you go.
last weekend,
Uh-huh.
we did a Saturday show because I was not going to be around on Sunday.
Right.
So went down to Los Angeles for for the Chargers Chiefs game. Now, mind you, when I got the tickets back in, I don't know, August,
Right.
excited for the game.
Mhm.
And then we got hit with a number of injuries leading up to the game with
Right.
the Chiefs. And
Mhm.
on top of that, one of our key safeties got suspended. So it was
Mhm.
like we had a skeleton crew for a lot of our team.
Mhm.
And so I was like, okay, I'm not expecting us to win this game. I'm hoping
Mhm.
it will be a good game, not expecting a win. The fact that it was 17-10 and it was 10-10 going all the way up into the fourth quarter, I was
Right.
absolutely happy with how that game played out.
I wondered if you were going nuts or not. I kept kind of
Oh, yeah.
eyeballing.
It was,
going,
I mean,
wonder if
well,
I
the
can
first
see-
quarter,
Yeah.
we were totally going nuts. It was 10-0
Mhm.
Chargers, and it was like, holy shit, could we possibly pull this off? And
Right.
then,
So
reality
close.
kind of creeps back in, and you start seeing the flaws. The offensive line couldn't block anybody to save
Oh,
their
I-
life, and that was really the problem.
Right.
But not to talk about football, but to talk about the experience. That
Right.
stadium is amazing. So we were on the upper deck, but we were section 418, but we were
Mhm.
row 1, so we were right up against the railing. Now, normal railing, I've been to plenty of hockey games down at the Shark Tank in San Jose, and they have,
Mhm.
the metal railing that you can't jump over, that kind of thing. Well, at SoFi, it's glass. It's a glass half
Oh.
wall. And so I did threaten to throw my friend over the glass wall. Um, but what's great is you can see everything. So like, as the plays are, happening,
Mhm.
it's an unobstructed view. The only time it was technically an obstructed view is when you had kind of the seam of the glass as another panel
Right.
were meeting up to one another, and the play might be happening right in that area. You kind of would look around it, or just look up, and they have this amazing, I'm sure it's a QLED, whatever, blah 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 screen, that is just a giant oval ring that has video screens on both sides.
Mhm.
So you see the outside of it, but if you're maybe lower, you can look up on the inside ring to see video, replay, and they're showing the game on those screens as well. And the thing I didn't know about SoFi Stadium, I knew it was an open air stadium, so it was like the I had thought it was just one end of the stadium was open air to the outside.
Mhm.
It's actually open air on both ends. So they technically are an open air stadium, but it's domed. So there's no, and I wish they would have real grass, because I think they could now pull that off, given that, there's plenty of UV light that comes into that stadium. But needless to say, it was an amazing experience on that end. We ended up only eating pizza at the stadium, which in retrospect was just okay. I kind of wish I had adventured out into something different. But we didn't get to the game until really the start of the game. So I landed at the airport. This can be a little bit of a long story. Sorry. Landed at the airport. I got in early. I only had 2 flight options. One would landed me at 8 a.m. The other landed me at the airport at 12:30. That was cutting it too close. The game started at 1:25. I was like, no. So I did the early flight. My buddy came in at 10 a.m. So I had time to kill. So I just sat up at a bar, had some breakfast. Now, here was the first sign that things were not going to go exactly as planned. So I get to the bar, and the bartender's like, so, I got a vodka Red Bull to start my morning off. Little caffeine kick. I didn't want coffee, but I needed something. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to do a breakfast burrito. They've got a breakfast sandwich. They got a breakfast burrito. I'm like, okay, this sounds good. The guy's like, sorry, no breakfast foods. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, no, we don't have any of the breakfast foods. We could do quesadillas. We could do burgers. We could do tacos. I'm like, you know what? I'll just do a quesadilla. So I get a quesadilla. That's my breakfast. Chicken quesadilla. Then as, the day's going on and I'm like, okay, kind of looking at the time. I'm like, close to like, give me my check. Suddenly all of their computers go down to where they can't charge anything. So they're only taking cash, which was fine for me, but multiple people, they hadn't said anything to them. They ordered stuff, and then this one guy's just like, I'll give you my credit card number. He's like, you can charge it whenever. He's like, but I got to go. I got to catch my flight. And he's like, I don't have any cash on me. And he's like, do what you want to do. And the guy was like talking about having to call the cops. He's like, charge my card. I don't care. I'm getting on my flight to leave.
Right.
So my buddy comes in. We ended up sitting at a different bar that
Probably
actually
a good
had
idea.
food and alcohol. Watched a little bit of the morning games, and then get out as we're leaving the airport. We're talking to one of the TSA guys just about kind of where to go meet for ride pickup or ride share. And he's like, if you're going to the stadium, he's like, getting there easy enough. He's like, coming back, he's like, don't try and get an Uber at the stadium. He's like, all of the Uber drivers these days are turning off their app notifications, so they're not accepting rides, and they're just parking there and trying to negotiate with people that are trying to get a ride. And doing it off the books and charging an exorbitant amount. He was like, they're talking like $100-$150. We're only 5 miles away from the stadium. So our ride there cost us $35. To come back, we're like, okay, well, let's leave the stadium And there was a mass of people that were kind of following out of the stadium and get out of the parking lot. I'm like, okay, well, let's just start heading kind of towards the airport. And once we get a little ways away, there's some hotels and stuff that are going to be probably nearby that we can just stop and do the Uber app. So we're walking. There's still a bunch of people in jerseys and stuff. So we're with the crowd. I'm like, well, as long as we're, with people, it's fine.
Right.
And I realized at that point, I'm like, I think we're on, and my buddy kind of confirmed it. We were on Century Boulevard, which it's a straight shot to the airport. You're just all the way down, 5 miles down. And we had been walking for a little bit, and the crowd's thinning out a little bit here and there. We're still seeing people like Uber drivers talking to people, and it looks like they're negotiating. So we're like, well, we'll just keep walking for a little bit longer. And then my buddy's looking at his phone. He's like, well, it says it's only 2.6 miles. Well, we can keep walking if you want. He's like, we can keep walking. So we just start walking.
Oh boy.
SoFi Stadium is located in a town called Englewood. If you're not familiar with Englewood, Englewood is not exactly a place you want to be if you can avoid it, especially on foot. But because we were on Century Boulevard, it's a really popular street. Some couple shady spots. One in particular moment, we were passing under an overpass, which was straight up just like an encampment. But I felt okay because we still had other people from the game with us. So I'm like, as long as we have numbers, we'll just keep going. We're walking through under the overpass. It like gets dark, and suddenly you're just worried about what the hell am I going to step on?
Yeah.
And so we emerge from the overpass on the other side. And suddenly it's like, okay, it actually is kind of becoming, it's a little bit more like an industrial area, like office spaces, that kind of thing, but still no longer feeling like the shitty Englewood side. Now it's starting to feel like, oh, we're kind of getting into we all have businesses and stuff that are associated with the airport. So we keep going a little ways longer, and then I see a Starbucks, and I'm like, well, we're stopping for Starbucks because I'm getting my free Starbucks for my birthday. So did that. Ended up walking all the way to the airport. Got there. We had plenty of time, though, mind you. We were not in any hurry. We weren't leaving until basically 9 o'clock that night. So our plan was we're going to go somewhere and just have dinner. So we ended up just going to the airport. That was our new plan, was we'll just go to the airport, because really in Englewood, there was no place we were going to go for dinner. And so we went into the airport. They had a couple sit-down restaurants there, so we ended up hanging out at the Hard Rock restaurant that was there, and they had the Sunday Night Football game on, so that was all fine. Then it's getting time to get on our planes. Now, my plane boarded like 15 minutes before my buddy's plane, but my buddy Brad, his plane got delayed by 10 minutes, or not 10 minutes, by like an hour to 10 o'clock. And so I'm like, oh, I feel bad, but I'm like, our plane's boarding. So I get on our plane, and he's, kind of being like, great. I'm going to be stuck here by myself. We keep texting back and forth. I'm sitting on the plane. 20 minutes go by. He's like, you still haven't taken off yet. I'm like, I know. I don't know what's going on. So then suddenly the pilot gets on the intercom in the cabin. He comes out of the cockpit, and he's like, hey, we're having problems with our comms equipment. The cockpit can't talk to the cabin. And I'm like, well, is that really that big of a deal? I guess it kind of is, but, and so he's like, but that's also tied into the oxygen system for all the masks that come down. So I'm like, okay, well, that's a little bit bigger deal.
Right.
And so he's like, we're trying to get maintenance up here to fix it. Shouldn't take that much longer. 20 minutes more go by, and I see this guy carrying out this big black box with dials and switches on it. I'm like, that can't be good. Suddenly they're like, okay, everybody has to get off the plane. We can't use this plane any longer. We're going to find a new plane for you. It's going to be kind of across the way from where you're deboarding. But it's not going to be there for another like half hour. So the next plane finally gets there. It deboards all of its passengers. We get on that plane. I end up getting home at 1:30 in the morning.
Ouch.
Yeah. And my buddy was laughing because he's like, hey, he's like, did you finally get on your flight? And I'm like, we just landed. And he's like, I just got home. So But it all worked out. Had a great time. I highly recommend going to a football game in person if you haven't ever done it. Pro football games, especially certain stadiums, like going to Kansas City. That is a destination game.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so that was my trek.
Wow.
I see here, Kim.
Yes,
You have pre-ordered something.
I have. And it's funny because it's all digital now, and you're like, you pre-ordered a digital game, but yes, yeah, I pre-ordered Dragon Age of Valguard. So yeah, I had
You're
some
locked
gift
in.
cards. Yes, I had some gift cards, and I bought the big deluxe version for like $80, and I think I only spent 21. I think all
Okay.
said and told. Yeah, so I figured, what the
Now,
hell?
what does the big deluxe version come with?
Oh, not a lot. I think it's just basically cosmetic, like armor and things. I don't know if you remember, they had the Blood Dragon armor in like Origins originally,
Yes.
and I think they even had it carried over maybe to Inquisition or 2, I can't remember. But anyway, they have that carried over now to Veilguard, and there's some other, I think, little cosmetic things. So it's not like a whole big thing or anything, but I figured, what the hell? I'm a Dragon Age fan, so I'll shell out for this. And I mean, the last game I bought was Space Marines 2, so I mean, I count on one hand how many games I've bought this year. So splurging a little bit, don't bother me so bad. So yeah, it's bought. It's already pre-downloaded. I'm ready to go. So
I will likely be pre-ordering that next week. I have a feeling.
yeah, there you go.
Shout out real fast. CP Matthew, Boomer in the chat. I see them there.
Yep.
I want to,
Yep.
do my best. Romper Room. Did you ever?
There you go.
Do you know Romper Room?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
This is one of those things where you say that to somebody that's a little bit younger, and they're like, I have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I have done a shitload of dancing.
Ah.
So last weekend, before going to the football game, the night before, we had a wedding to go to. So I went to the wedding, danced the night away at the wedding, got home. I'm pretty sure I was still drunk when I first woke up to shower and get ready to go to the airport.
And that's the one you needed the cowboy boots for, right?
Yes. And then I wore cowboy boots again last night because we had one of our good friends, her mother was celebrating her 90th birthday. And so they had almost, I want to say about 80 people at the house. It was a big party. And they're Persian, so I'm not familiar with Persian food.
Right.
So that was an experience. And I'm not trying to be negative about it. There were some good things. There were some bad things. There was one thing, though, that I thought I was going to be a huge fan of.
Yeah.
And that was called crispy rice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at it, and it looks like it's rice with like, melted cheese, but like kind of crispy melted cheese. And I'm like, oh,
right.
I'm like, I'll take some of this, and I'm trying it, and it's exceedingly tough. And I'm like, okay, can't cut it with a knife. I was like picking it up almost like a French fry, and I'm tasting it, and I'm like, I'm not getting the cheese. I'm just getting rice and oil, and well, it turns out it wasn't cheese. It was oil. It was like the bottom of the pan of rice that had basically burned. They end up kind of scraping that, and they call it crispy rice. Note to anybody eating crispy rice: salt and pepper will be your friend.
Right?
Yeah, but of course they didn't have salt and pepper on any of the tables, and so I was kind of like, not going to ask for it, just set it aside. Chicken was fantastic. They had some beef kebab there that. Here's my thing with beef. Unless it's hamburger, I want, if it's a steak, even in kebab form, it needs to have a steak texture. Now, I'm not sure what they do to marinate this meat for the kebabs that they do, but it was just kind of mushy. And it looked like it. So when you're looking at the form of it, it was kind of I don't know, stripped in its shape. And so I just kind of expected it to have a steak texture. And instead it was very soft and mushy, and the flavor was just okay. But I'm a texture person, and if I start eating something that's overly mushy, I'm instantly turned off to it. So the chicken was the that was the win. I don't really care for lamb. They had lamb shanks, but I didn't do the lamb. They had a coleslaw salad that had a really good dressing on it, so that was good.
Mhm.
And then a lot of like various different rice dishes.
Mhm.
But again, the weird thing about the way they the rice just was bland. It needed something. So that's my my instant Persian food review. I'm not going to be seeking out a Persian restaurant for the record.
I don't think I will be either, to be from the sound of things. I mean,
I think
even
it was
Christmas-
something to experience, and of course, if
Yeah.
I go to another event or for friends, you know, they have Persian food there. Okay, fine, but
Of course, to be fair, to find a Persian place around here is like finding a needle in a haystack.
I was just
So-
going to say, you know, in Canada, Persian food is tough to find.
Right. Right.
See, I'm doing this
Yeah.
now, Kim. You're in
Sure.
Canada. Sorry, Missouri,
Alrighty.
Canada. Why is it always you two these days? Yeah, Lord, that is an issue. You know, we open to others joining the show. Shout out to Lord, by
Yeah.
the way. You know, that door is wide open. If you want to be there, John Wilson, by the way, step your game up, son. You said
Yeah,
you wanted
what
to be
the
on the
heck?
show. Let's go.
Right.
Robin is in purgatory right now, just from the standpoint that he has to watch the kids in Sunday evenings up until I want to say it's October 20th, something like that. I don't remember the date.
Something. I know it's in
Sometime.
October, so
Yeah, sometime in October, things will kind of get back to normal for him. Mark has just completely gone MIA, and I've actually had conversations with Mark, so I kind of know what's going on. So
yeah.
he's just been dealing with a lot on his end, so that's okay. And Pete, honestly, Pete could be at the bottom of the ocean at this point. It's likely a 5-foot canal. It's not terribly deep, but we haven't heard. I have not heard from Pete in quite a while.
No, other
So-
than watching his videos on YouTube, that's about it. I
Oh,
comment
see.
every once in a while, and he comments back, and that's about it.
I
So
look for his image on milk cartons every day. I don't see it.
I
so-
know.
And then Phil, you know, every once in a while, randomly, Phil pops in and then pops back out.
Yeah, he gets our
he's-
hopes up, and he's like, "We gotta play D&D again." I'm like, "Yes, we
Ow.
should," and that's all the further it goes.
He's been traveling a lot, as far as from
Yeah.
what I understand. So that's the state of it, Lord. But you know what? Hey, you want to step up, Mr. Matthew? Come on back.
I tried to get Boomer on here, but no luck so far.
We know about Boomer. We know about Boomer. Okay. Anything else, Kim?
Yeah.
I
got a
dread
couple
to
things.
say this.
All right. Well, we could talk about the kittens first if you want.
Yeah,
I
let's talk
mean,
about the kittens first, and then we'll talk about
All
the
right.
kittens.
You'd be proud of me. Yeah, you'd be proud of me. We are now down 7 kittens in the porch. I don't know which one. They graduated from the yurt, I guess you'd say, out to the front porch now. So,
Okay.
and they've been out there about a week, and so far none of them have gotten eaten by raccoons or the Sasquatch or whatever the hell's been picking off my kittens. But they are bigger, so maybe that's why, because they're about 5 months old. And we are in October, and of course next month is November, and winter's going to start. And so they have to get acclimated to the weather. So, yeah. So 9 of them got graduated out of the mudroom into the porch. So,
Okay.
yeah, we're
So-
making headway.
You're stockpiling food for the raccoons. That's good. That's good.
Not
Yeah,
yet. Don't say
raccoons
that.
don't hibernate, do they? So they're going to be looking.
Probably, but I know when the weather does get nasty, they don't come out as much. So, but not that I want a nasty winter either, because I don't handle winter that well. So I don't know, but yeah, 9 of them are now out. Technically, though, I still have 9 in my porch because, of course, I found pork chop and her litter, and that was 4 of them. And then I found one at the barn, and then we've got 4 others that I'm hanging on to because they're not quite big enough yet. So it'll probably be an all winter thing that I'll have these kittens, unless we have a mild winter, and then I can move them out, and I'm not worried about them, getting sick or freezing to death or what have you. So, but 9 did graduate, so we have that.
The kitty donner party.
Yeah, right. But I have to go to the vet next week to take Zelda in to have her spayed. So while I'm there, I'm going to tell them that, how many kitten factories I have. And I know it's $200 a pop to get them fixed, but is there any way you could cut me a deal so I can get all these cats fixed and not have so many kittens? So fingers crossed, they'll cut me a deal, a bulk discount, if you will. So maybe this winter I can take 2 in at a time, and by kitten season next year, hopefully I'll have most of, if not all of them fixed. So we will have hopefully almost no kittens.
You
Hopefully.
say that, and you know.
Yes.
You just
Well, I-
you are like a kitten whisperer. They will come.
I know. Boomer said the same thing. He
Yeah.
said, you know that, you're going to have at least, a few. And I said, yeah, because there's a couple cats that are hard to catch. So I don't know that I'll be, lucky enough to get them caught, to get them down there. So, I mean, there'll be at least 2 that'll probably still have kittens. But as opposed to half a dozen or however many that's had kittens this year, sometimes twice. So,
All right.
So there'll probably still be a kitten or 2. You're probably not wrong. And I swear, I think people drive by here and pitch them out in my yard and be like, Kim will take care of them.
Exactly.
Well, I mean,
You could
there's
like
worse
that.
things in life, I guess. It's fine. So, yeah. But that's the hope. I'll get the vet to give me a deal. I'll get them fixed, and there won't be quite as many kittens to worry about next year. I hope. So,
All right.
anyway, it's calendar time. Greg's favorite part of the show. First of the month. Well, though, this is all you guys' fault because you guys all started this way
Oh, I
back
know.
when I started the show.
I
So
know.
this is all your fault.
We tease.
But-
It is a moment for the show.
Right. So anyway, I'll start with this one. This is our cosplay calendar for the month of October. And I know it's a little dark, so I don't know if you can make it out, but it is Solid Snake.
Okay. All right.
So
Well, Snake
there
Eater
might be some
cosplay.
Yeah. So there's that, which seems kind of fitting considering they've been advertising Delta for a while now.
By the way, Lord, absolutely, we will hold the fort down.
We did it. We do what we can.
It's our therapy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because normally during the week, all I get to talk to are cats and children, and occasionally my father. So, I mean, I need to talk to some other adults. Otherwise, people start talking about me, and we don't want that. Anyway, for this month, for our Pussy and Pet catalog or calendar, we have Lloyd and Megan. So, pick out whichever one you think is Lloyd and whichever one you think is Megan, and no
These
judgments.
days you cannot be too sure.
This is
I
right,
don't want
right?
to, unjustly identify somebody.
Right.
Make
Exactly.
Sure we,
So-
use the right pronouns, all that nonsense.
Thanks.
But yeah,
There you go. So anyway, there's calendar time. So.
Megan has a lot of muscles, for the record.
Yeah, no kidding. I'd like to have a few of those, but anyway, you need to start working out
easy,
more.
Tigress. All right. Thank
Anyway,
you for
that's
that,
it for
Kim.
me.
Okay. I feel sufficiently under-muscled now.
Yeah, well,
Okay. We should talk about video games.
let's do it.
Today I feel like playing computer games. Today I feel like playing computer games.
All right, Kim. So there's good news and bad news.
Right.
Which do you want first? The good news or the bad news?
Give me the bad news first.
The bad news
So-
is you and I really didn't play jack shit this week. Outside of Halo. That was pretty. I mean, we got a little bit else in. I know you played a little bit, a couple games here and there. But honestly, wasn't
right.
a whole lot we
It
did
wasn't the
differently.
week for it.
Yeah.
It seemed like I couldn't get, I was busy. It's like all the time. So there wasn't
Now-
much time.
So the good news is we do have something to talk about, which is all the games we get for free that we pay for.
Yes.
So let's do that right now, and then we'll go back and talk about Halo because it's important we talk about Halo multiplayer
It is.
because Snoogans came back and played with
He
us.
did. He did. And then a good time was had by all, I think. Anyway, all right, for your for your free games for the month of October, for your PlayStation Plus, we have Dead Space for the PS5. I almost said Dead Space 5, but that's not right. Doki Doki Literature Club Plus for the PS4 and PS5, and WWE 2K24 for the PS4 and PS5. Not a whole lot there for me this month. I don't know. I might pick up Dead Space. Whether I'll play it is another story, but out of all of them, that seems like the best one.
We're gonna have to
For
talk
Game
about
Pass.
this next, the Game Pass stuff. Once you get through this reading, we're gonna circle
Okay.
back and talk about one thing. So go ahead.
All right. For your Game Pass so far for October. Now, they like to surprise us every once in a while. So this is probably not all of them, but we have MLB The Show 24 console. Open Roads for the console as well. Sifu, which I think has been on there once before. Scrolling, because, that's what happens. Mad Streets. Inscription, which I think has been on there before. And the one I'm excited for, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Of course, that won't be there till the 25th, but I know it's going to be there, so I put it already.
Okay.
All right.
So real quickly,
Yes.
So this confused me at first because I'm like, MLB 24, that's been on Game Pass. That was Game
Mhm.
Pass day one.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't understand. And then I'm like, Sifu. Okay, that's new to Game Pass. I'm like, and then it dawned on me.
Mm.
Console, it was on Game Pass Ultimate. Console now is this new tier they've created that has a set number of games that get released into it. It's not anything and everything that comes on.
Well, yeah, it's the
Game
now
Pass Ultimate.
standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, standard or
It's
whatever
a
you want to call it. Yeah.
curated list.
Yes.
So anyway, so that's where that's all coming from.
Which I still don't understand necessarily. I don't know that we need all these tiers for Game Pass. I think we were good when we just had the one where you got a few of the games, and then you had the Ultimate where you pretty much got everything.
I'm pretty sure
'cause-
Microsoft would just like us to do Ultimate, and they would like to sell
Right.
nothing but that.
Right.
However, I'm pretty sure regulators will get all over their up in their
Right,
business. if
probably.
they
But
don't.
yeah, I'm thinking for $20 though, you're getting your $20 worth. So that's just my opinion. Anyway, leaving Game Pass on the 15th, we have Dyson Sphere program for the PC, which I thought was something about the Dyson vacuum, but I guess not. Everspace 2, From Space, F1 Manager 23, and Scorn. So that's leaving Game Pass this month.
Fun side note, by
Yeah.
the way, the Dyson vacuum is not that great for high plush carpet.
Yeah, I don't know because I can't afford one of them things because they're expensive.
They are expensive. We had to return ours though because it was literally chewing up our carpet.
Ooh, yeah, that's not good. Not good at all. That reminds me, Scorn. Did you ever finish Scorn? Because I know you played it.
No. Scorn was a game that ultimately
Mm-hmm.
left me wanting it to be so much more than it was.
Right.
So
Oh, all right. I never got into it because it just looked creepy to me. So I'm like,
it had the
Yeah, I'll
creep
pass.
factor. It looked
Right.
great, but ultimately I just felt like it was a bit shallow.
yeah, gotcha. All right. For your Prime games so far this month, and I checked this morning, we have No Straight Roads, The Eternal Cylinder, Tomb Raider Legend. It's
Hard
easy
me
for you to say,
Yeah.
right? Spirit of the North, which is a good game, but it made me carsick, so there you go. Hive Jump 2 Survivors, Scarf, and Ghost Song. Considering last month we had like 50 games, although there are still extra games on there, but I didn't put them on there because they're some of the same games that were on there last month. So
Gotcha.
if you didn't pick them up last month, go back. They're probably still there.
Yeah.
So Epic Games for now until the 10th, we have Bear and Breakfast. Which is like a game about a bear that runs a bed and breakfast. I had to look it up to find out. I also bought it. So there you go. October 10th through the 17th, we have Empyrean and Galactic Survival and Outliver. I'm assuming, or Outliver. I don't know. At least, well, maybe it's Outliver. Tribulation. So there you go.
All right.
And
Okay.
there's your free games.
I love it. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Sure.
Mr. Matthew, his Dyson still sucks. After 24 years. That's like a good relationship right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we played some Halo multiplayer on Wednesday.
We did.
Snoogans joined us.
He did.
He
Him and his aimbot.
rightfully, repeatedly asked for the record to be set straight. So we're going to set the record straight. This was regarding the commentary I made about him using an aimbot and being banned from Halo. Snoogans came on and said, no aimbots were being used. It was strictly a glitch that was affecting multiple people on PC that used aimbots. So,
Of course.
yeah. Also, Snoogans got called out by another person we were playing against as a cheater.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
That was pretty funny. So we all reported Snoogans, not just
Yes.
the person. But yeah, no, good time on Wednesday, as always.
Yep.
Kim, I know you snuck in a couple other games. We'll keep it light on the games we played.
Sure.
There's other stuff we're going to talk about, including Metacritic
Right.
Madness, the most exciting part of the show coming up.
Of
shortly.
course. Right.
Plucky Squire, still enjoying it?
Yep. Still enjoying it. Yeah. I mean, it's still the Plucky Square. It's still pretty good. I finally got past the part where I needed the bow, thank God. So I'm still plugging away at it. It's still good. If you'd like to try it, it is on PS Plus for free. So,
All right.
yeah.
SteamWorld Dig
Yep. SteamWorld Dig.
on the Steam Deck?
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's on Game Pass, but I
Okay,
can play it
alright.
on my Steam Deck. So yeah, I have SteamWorld Dig still plugging away at it. It's for what it looks like. It's a harder game than what it looks like. Because there's been times I've had to destroy my little robot self because I've got trapped somewhere and there was no way to get out, or a way I couldn't figure out how to get out. So I'd have to destroy myself and then go back. So yeah, it's all right. I mean, I'm still plugging away at it. I don't know though that if I will play SteamWorld Dig 2 because I downloaded it too, thinking maybe I might, but I don't know. So if you've ever played Dig Dug, that's SteamWorld Dig.
Okay.
And we've talked about Halo. We played that, and my usual COD self. We played some more Horde Point, and they have a map set up now. It's 24/7 shipment, and they've got all the different shipment maps because there's like 6 of them now. So we played some of that today too. It's fun as always. And if you ever want to play COD, come find me. I mean, we like playing COD with other people. They just don't tend to show up. So other than Sarah. So
Well, yeah. I can't say Fridays have become tough for me. I don't know why.
oh, I know.
Work just Fridays and afternoons with work. Like I can always squeeze in, or not always. There are times on
Mhm.
Wednesdays I can't, and I get a meeting. But Fridays, for
Right.
whatever reason, Friday afternoon. I think it's just account managers and the people I deal with.
Mhm.
They like weekend panic hits, and
Right.
suddenly you get a barrage of crap that hits right around 12:30, 1 o'clock my time. Never
Right.
fails. So,
Yeah,
but
we
one
are
of
always
these days,
open to
Kim.
Friday nights, and we play a
Yeah.
lot on Saturday afternoons. So
All
yeah,
right. Well, I
yeah.
suppose we can talk about this next big thing, Kim. This is the
Oh
biggest thing
boy.
ever.
Next to
All right,
sliced
now
bread.
everybody get settled. Get away from the windows. Now look, good. It's time for the quiz. Yeah, you know what? Oh, too bad. Tough.
All right, Kim. This is the moment. Metacritic
Yes.
Madness.
Mm-hmm.
It's your turn this week.
Right.
You are going to take us all back to a time that we have probably forgotten in our lives because it's so many years back.
Mhm.
And you're then going to subjugate us to 3 different games, and we have to guess the Metacritic score of those games.
Indeed.
The world
Alrighty.
is depending upon our answers. Kim, what year are we going back to?
2009.
Okay. We've rewound
Uh-uh.
2009. I'm ready.
Yep.
I'm in the right headspace.
Okay.
I don't know what the hell was going on in 2009 for the record.
Yeah, it's kind of a blur for me too. Uh,
Maybe
This
that's
was
something we should
released-
also include as a little tidbit of what was happening in 2009.
I have no idea. We'll do that next time. And this was released on October 27th in 2009 for the PS3, and it is Ratchet and Clank Future: A Crack in Time. So,
Oh, Ratchet and Clank.
yeah, Ratchet and Clank Future: A Crack in Time for the PS3.
PS3. Ratchet and Clank games score pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
2009, so it would have definitely been a PS3 game. I'm gonna say 90.
Okay.
Just flat.
How about
90.
how about the chat there? Anybody gonna throw anything out?
I
you
mean,
know.
I'm prepared for Boomer's absolutely horrible answers. Christopher Matthew will give an educated guess of some kind. If Lord
probably.
is still in the chat, he actually probably will nail it.
maybe.
Yes, Boomer, I have no faith in your answers. I'm just telling you now. All right,
Poor-
so 90 though, Kim. I'm thinking
Yes.
90 is that's the number.
All right. Alrighty. Well, all right. I got
Boomer's
CP
okay. Now
Matthew and
Boomer's just-
Boomer.
Look, he's just copycatting me. Straight up copycat. I see how it is, Boomer. Smart
Yeah,
play, by the
well,
way. Smart
yeah,
play.
but there you
Go
go.
with the winner.
We'll see how that goes. Alrighty. Assuming Lord doesn't show up here in a couple of seconds, we'll let you
Well,
know
remember
what it
they're
is.
on delay, so
Right.
they'll
15
give
seconds.
they'll give their responses, and we'll be able to make fun of them in retrospect.
Right.
But
Alrighty. Well, the Metacritic score for Ratchet and Clank Future: A Crack in Time for the PS3 is 87.
87. Okay.
Yep.
And Mr. Matthew, once again, solid answer. With his
Right.
88, he was right there. But I'm not 90, 80. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
3 points off.
I mean, it's
we'll
not
take
far
that.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, well done, Boomer. Copying my
Yeah.
homework. I see how it is. But yeah, good job.
Sometimes that's what it takes. Alrighty, onward. Also in October, on released on October 6th of 2009. Also for the PS3, we have Demon Souls.
Demon Souls.
What was its Metacritic score?
Oof. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a good score.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it got into the 90s, but I'm gonna say 89.
Okay.
That's where I'm going with. It's 89. I think that's the right. Just it might have pushed into the 90s. I'm trying to remember. I want to say it was like at the cusp of it though, and everybody loved it. So it was like it became this groundswell, and then Dark Souls, of course, came after that. So
Right. Dark Souls, a game I cannot play because, well, it gives me rage. Sorry, fellas. What about Demon Souls? What do you think it scored?
waiting for the
See what
cheating
they-
answers to come in now.
Right. Okay, we got an 86 and a 75. Alrighty. The Metacritic score for Demon Souls in 2009 was 89. Hit it right on the head.
You know why people doubt me, Kim? I just don't know.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
So.
I'm feeling good. Feeling really good now. Last one. This is for all the marbles.
Yes, last one, and it was released on June 9th of 2009 for the Xbox 360. Because gosh darn it, I had to throw an Xbox game in there somewhere.
Okay.
And it is
Xbox
Prototype.
360. Prototype.
Yeah, Prototype. A game I have not played, but it does look interesting. But I don't know.
Okay. So
what was the Metacritic score?
Prototype was that was an Activision game. That was an open world. You like morphed into things, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Like you could morph your body into things. And it was, I'm trying to remember, there was a Sony game that also came out at the time. It was kind of also an open world game. That game got, I think, a lot more love than the Activision game got. Prototype, I'm going to say 75.
Okay.
I think it didn't meet the lofty expectations that everybody thought it was going to get. So I think 75.
All right. Yeah. Well, according to the box art, it says it was a platinum hit. So I reckon, I don't know. I didn't play it, although looking at it, I'm thinking, I don't know why I didn't, but I don't know. Back in the day, I was probably into different games. Who knows? Alrighty, your Metacritic score, because Boomer and CP are in there, and CP says 78, Boomer says 85, and your Metacritic score for Prototype was 78.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Mr. Matthew, I think, actually won this whole thing. Just to,
Probably.
I don't want to toot his horn too much.
Right.
But yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, that's about the way. I almost went 79, but oh well. 75 popped in my head last minute. None of this 85 nonsense, Boomer. All right. Thank you for that, Kim. And thank you, with my voice cracking, to the chat for participating. It's always fun when they chime in, especially when they get them right or wrong or grossly wrong. All right. We've got some news to talk about, Kim.
We do?
We do.
All right.
Here is the fucking news.
Mr. Matthew, we're not talking about Red Dead Redemption. Okay.
We should be, though.
Do you think they'll make a third, Kim?
I hope so.
I don't know that they will. I'm not.
Really?
I don't know.
I think they will. I don't know who it's going to be, but, I think they will.
All right. Speaking of things that I'm not sure need to be done, but I kind of like it.
I wondered about
Halo
this.
Infinite is getting a third-person mode.
Right.
So the news was announced at the 2024 Halo World Championships in Seattle during a discussion on the game's development. It was revealed the game will be receiving an update in November, which adds the ability to play the game in an over-the-shoulder viewpoint for the first time in the Halo series. So I love the notion and the thought of Halo in a third-person view for a Halo game.
Right.
I don't love it for Halo Infinite multiplayer. So campaign, if I could, just have a Halo game, third person, Halo game. Yes. give it, from the get-go. Because in Halo Infinite, for the record, you can play the campaign in first person or third person, but it's meant to be played in first person. It's built that way. The multiplayer, I have a feeling, also is going to feel just odd being in third person. So I kind of just want them to keep Halo Infinite first person, just let that be, and then do something in third person for an actual game with a single player narrative single player game they could develop a campaign around, have the right visuals, have the right setup, have the right aiming, all that. I don't know. We'll see.
Right. Yeah, I get you, because, I used to play Battlefield, which of course was third person. Then we switched to playing COD, which is first person, although you can switch it to third person. But, after playing first person for so long, third person is a little odd to get used to again.
Yeah.
I have trouble with it. I don't know why it is, but so I'm kind of like you on this. I don't know. I may just stick with first person because that's what I know. So
yeah, and I think it also, the gameplay itself matters in a third person view. So, first person games, there's a reason, I shouldn't say there's a reason, but I mean, you approach cover differently in a first person perspective versus third person. Third person, typically there's a cover mechanic. You're utilizing walls differently. In first person, it just feels so very different. So yeah, I'm curious. I'm not excited about this announcement.
Right.
Also things I'm not excited for. Tencent and the Guillemot family, Yves Guillemot from Ubisoft, reportedly are talking and considering taking Ubisoft private. So according to Bloomberg sources, the Chinese conglomerate, which already owns around 10% of Ubisoft, and the Guillemot Brothers Limited have been speaking with advisors to explore ways to stabilize Ubisoft, which I think is code word for let the Chinese company buy them. One of the possibilities discussed would be teaming up with and to take Ubisoft private. It's claimed, though, talks are said to be in early stages, and there's no certainty on where that will lead. So the interesting aspect of this, of course, is all of the Activision Blizzard King buyout for Microsoft. They were forced by the not the UK, it was the European Commission. I can't remember the name of the stupid commission, but they basically made Microsoft give the online cloud server rights to Ubisoft. They had to give it to a third-party publisher to have that. So this way it wasn't, quote-unquote, like a monopoly. So now this, in theory, would be then taking Microsoft's cloud services and giving it to Tencent. I have a feeling there will be court battles over this if in fact this does try to move forward.
Right. And I mean, honestly, wasn't Tencent the one here a while back that was trying to sell off studios because they needed the money or something?
No. I think you are mistaken that for. There's another big publisher out there. I can't think of their names. They bought everybody under the sun for a little while, and then they couldn't manage any of them, and they started selling them off. Somebody in the chat will know. I'm sure of it.
Okay.
But yeah, so no, Tencent is actually the largest publisher in the world.
Right.
And they continue to flourish. As far as I know, they're not in any kind of trouble from a financial perspective. Although we don't really get insight into their financials too much. Right. Horizon Zero Dawn has been delisted on the Epic Games Store ahead of the remastered release. So the PC version of the game, which was released on Epic Games Store in 2020, is currently unavailable for purchase. When visiting the store page, the original version of the game, the players are now directed to a link to the purchase page for Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered. Now, normally, in this instance, I have that knee-jerk reaction of, oh, here we go, greedy Sony. They're looking to, kind of make an extra $10 off of everything sold. Actually, not the case in this situation. So the remaster, which is going to come to both PC and PlayStation 5 on October 31st, will be
Mhm.
available for $49.99 on PS5, Steam, and the Epic Game Store, while owners of the original game can upgrade to the remaster for $9.99.
Mhm.
So the speculation is it's possible that they delisted this because the original PC version is $49.99 on the store currently. You'd have to spend a further $9.99 upgrade, thus making the total price above the $49.99 Horizon Zero Dawn remastered version. So they basically said, we're taking out the original PC version just so somebody doesn't mistakenly buy that, and then they would be forced to do the $10 upgrade. They wouldn't be forced to, but they would have to do the $10 upgrade if they wanted the remastered version.
Right.
Instead, they're just offering the remastered version at the same price as what the original PC version was. So that's actually good on Sony. How many times do you hear me say that?
Not very often.
Yeah.
Once a year, probably.
And then last little tidbit here. Krafton. Famous for PUBG. I love
Right.
Krafton. They also recently bought up Tango Game Studios and are helping save them. They have reached an agreement, and they are going to be basically doing a licensing agreement with the developer Pocket Pair for the intellectual property of Palworld. Through this contract, Krafton will expand the Palworld IP to the mobile platform. So you get to play Palworld on your phone.
Oh boy.
Nintendo is thrilled with this news.
Oh, I'll bet.
Good for them. I think that's also great for Pocket Pair. Talking about a company that just struck the right note. And granted, they didn't recreate the wheel. There definitely are similarities to Pokemon, we know. But Palworld, it had a hot minute moment, and maybe going mobile is the right thing for them. So
there you go. Anthony will probably play it.
I'm sure many youngsters will play it, especially because it's on mobile. Kids love to play their games on their phones. So
yes, they do.
All right, Kim. We have some new releases coming up.
We do. We have a few.
Just a few.
Just a few. Yep. Some big ones in there too. So.
Well, let's get to it.
Alrighty. Your new releases for October 6th to 13th are Dead Season for the PC on October 8th. That's all right. Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred for the PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC on October 8th. I don't know if anybody's going to be buying the Vessel of Hatred. I probably will eventually because I would like to finish out the story and see how it goes. But probably not right away. All right, I went too far. Hold on, bear with me while I scroll back up again, because my computer has a mind of its own sometimes and wants to throw me clear across the screen. So, all right, we have Silent Hill 2 for the PS5 and PC on October 8th. Duck Paradox for the PC on October 9th. I'm assuming there are going to be ducks involved, and there's a paradox. Oh. Amber Isle for the PC, October 10th. Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time for the Switch on October 10th. That's odd. Metamorphosis for the Quest 2 and the Quest 3 on October 10th. Maribo Go for the PC and mobile, October 10th. Sky Oceans Wings for Hire for the PC and console on October 10th. That's what it says, PC and console, so I'm assuming, whatever. Dragon Balls Sparking Zero for the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, October 11th. Europa for the Switch and PC, October 11th as well. Metaphor ReFantazio for the PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, October 11th. Starship Troopers Extermination for the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, October 11th.
I'm doing my part. Are you?
Yeah, why not? Sure. Yes, I know.
Okay. All right. Just double checking. Come on.
All right. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah. Thronefall for the PC, October 11th. Transformers Galactic Trials for the PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, PC, October 11th as well. Undisputed. I'm assuming that's some sort of boxing thing, but I don't know. Anyway, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, October 11th. Have you noticed that the Xbox One and the PS4 are slowly but surely not getting games sent to them?
They are. I think we're finally in that transition phase of companies are just moving forward with just the current generation now.
Right. And those are your new releases this week. So for some other reason, I thought there was more, but no. Undisputed is it. So
I'm excited for Starship Troopers.
Right?
I think that's going to be very. I feel bad for them also though because Helldivers
Right.
2 is absolutely probably stole a lot of the thunder that Starship Troopers would have had.
Right.
Because I mean it's a direct ripoff,
Mm-hmm.
just even down to the humor. So
Right.
But that said, I might just be inclined to pick up a copy of Starship Troopers. I don't know. It might be. It might be something for Extra Life.
There you go.
Speaking of Extra Life, Kim,
Mm-hmm.
we are now officially signed up.
We are.
Campaigns
Yep.
have begun. I officially got myself on board with Extra Life just this past week. I was like, I have to start. I'm late to the party.
You are.
But yeah, no, excited to do another year of 24 hours of video game hell.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Look, people, it sounds great. It sounds, oh, they played games for 24 hours. Why are they complaining?
Right.
We hate games. By the end of the 24 hours, I loathe video games. Depending upon who I'm playing with, I might be loathing that person as well. So
And guess what? It falls on daylight savings time, ending again. So
it
yay!
always does. It always falls in daylight savings. But I'm not falling for the trap, Kim. I'm not adding an extra freaking hour just because the clock's turned back. I'm doing my 24 hours, legit 24 hours, not this nonsense of going by the clock.
Right.
Yeah.
Same here. Because it's gonna be rough anyway. Because I got a wedding that Friday before, and we're not gonna get back here till like 11. So yeah, it's gonna be a struggle bus probably. But Anthony's gonna help too. So
we'll get you through it.
As a matter of fact, he's going to the wedding with me. He's my date. So
Skittles and energy drinks, Kim. That's all you need.
Yep.
Bags of Skittles.
So.
Crates of energy drinks.
Right. Thank God we'll have Halloween candy left over, so that's gonna help. But
yeah, I need to rethink how I'm gonna set myself up. In the past, I had kind of the kitchen counter right there, so I had like a easy reach. Not anymore in the new setup. I'm gonna have to,
yeah,
be a little different.
Yeah. Really, what 12 years I think this year. So Jesus Christ, who'd have thought I'd stuck with it that long?
15. Yeah, I think I'm on my 15th year. Although I do think it's technically 16 because I think the first year they didn't really track it.
Right.
They did it, but they didn't really track anybody for it. So I do think it's actually 16 years. I've got all my medals over here. I could probably count them.
Probably.
But anyway, excited for Extra Life. Do, if you can, support us.
Right.
If you see some other silly person like Robin Tate trying to promote something else on his side, his side in quotes, you can ignore him until he comes back on the show. Ignore anything that Robin Tate does. I'm just saying. I love you, Robin. I miss you.
We do.
All right. Playdates, Kim. Wednesdays, Halo, 8 p.m. in the UK. We still put it out there just for the UK peeps because we do get some UK people playing Halo.
Right.
It's 12 p.m. on the West Coast, 2 p.m. in Missouri, Canada.
Right.
And 3 p.m. on the East Coast. And then Femme Fatale Fridays because it's your dig now. It's your
right.
Stick.
Yeah. Well, they're more or less Friday nights now because it seemed easier. Although the last Friday night it was just me and Boomer again. But I think this Friday night, because I figured I'd do it like every other Friday. So I think it'll be up again this Friday night. So 8 o'clock my time, whatever that is in your time, figure it out. And if there's somebody that can't make it, because I know the UK time, that's like 2 o'clock in the morning. So I get that. Usually, like I said, Saturday afternoons if you want to play Horde Point, because I know Snookins even said he played Horde Point and enjoyed it. And I know Phil does too. So Saturday afternoons, if we're on and you want to play,
there we go, people.
Just shoot me a message. So we'll have to shoot them up for Saturdays. So
I missed a question from the chat. I want to give this question its due. It's fair utterance.
As you should.
Mr. Matthew asked, with regards to Starship Troopers, what are the odds Starship Troopers, and for some reason that's difficult for me to say, features a Blitzball mini game? So Blitzball, did they ever actually show? I think they did show them playing Blitzball. If I remember,
I think
correctly.
so.
It was basically
it's been a while, but yeah,
like a future quote unquote version of football. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna go no. Gonna say no.
Shooting down all your hopes and dreams.
I would like for there to be a Blitzball game, but I just have a feeling they didn't go that deep with this. Kim, what do you think?
Yeah. Oh, you're probably right. I mean, yeah, I'm like you. It'd probably be cool if they had one, but yeah, they probably won't.
All right.
I don't know.
Mr. Matthew, are you going to pick this game up? That's the question to ask.
Right?
Because this could become maybe one of our game nights. I'm just saying. Again, this is a straight up horde type game.
Yeah, because I can't get anybody by Space Marines.
Well, okay. Look, now you're getting all technical on me.
Well,
Yeah, there's going to be multiple games I'm going to be adding to the list of new games to play for Extra Life. It is one of the things I kind of do. I hold off on buying games the end of September into the early part of October. This way I have some fresh games to play for Extra Life. And then inevitably I just play PUBG for like 5 hours.
Right.
Yeah, I know. You're excited for that. Although last time I think we played a lot of Call of Duty, for the record.
Yeah.
And Halo.
Well, and Halo, yeah.
All right. Kim, we're going to be back doing this again next weekend because that's what we
More than likely.
Yeah, more than likely. Although every once in a while, as you now have seen, we've had to shift some times due to unforeseen circumstances. And at some point, we will have more than just the two of us on the show. But you know what? I'm okay with just the two of us. It's fun. So there's that. 8 p.m. in the UK, 12 p.m. on the West Coast.
Yep.
Figure it out if you're in Canada. We'll be back next Sunday.
Yeah.
You can join our Discord. It's the future from what I hear. We also very much would appreciate it if you would subscribe to the podcast, to whatever social media apps you're using. If you're on Facebook, you know what? I mean, it's a thing. It's still there.
It is a thing. Yeah.
By the way, it's weird that Facebook became Meta, but they kept it called Facebook. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll have the audio version of the podcast out probably tomorrow. So check it out then if you want to. I got no shout outs. Kim, do you have any shout outs?
Yeah, I'll shout out the chatters real quick. We've had CP Matthew and Boomer and Lloyd. Or Lord, not Lloyd. Where the hell did that come from? I don't know, but
Lord, you have a new name, Lloyd.
Yeah.
Shirley, you can't be serious. Don't call me Shirley.
Right. So yes, Boomer, CP, and Lord, thank you for joining us in the chat. It's a fun, like always. So it's a fun. Now I'm speaking like Mario. Jesus Christ, get me out of here.
On that note, I have only one thing left to say. Fuck the Kansas City Chiefs.
Thank you for listening to the Overseas Connection podcast.